Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about the second episode of the Quiet on Set docuseries.
Listen here, make sure y'all go watch the first episode that we did. We go try to cover all the episodes and the apology and give our thoughts and discussions throughout this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment. We want to comment and actually have a discussion in the comments about this show. You ready, Blair?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's go.
So we start off with MJ, who is the mother of Brandy, who was a guest cast person on the Amanda show. Mm-hmm. And so apparently parents weren't actually allowed on the physical set. So there was a PA named Jason Handy who escorted the kids onto the set. And they were saying that he spoke with the parents, like he made it a point to just to kind of speak with everybody to make sure everybody was comfortable and knew who he was. Okay. He was also exchanging his number and email with the children as well as the parents.
Okay.
So Jason at first was emailing Brandy about different jobs he was working on. Mind you, Brandy's a child. He's emailing her about different jobs he's working on. A couple months later, he actually sends a naked picture of himself to her, touching himself, and wrote to her saying that, I just wanted you to know that I was thinking about you.
Stop right here now. Now, this is within the first couple minutes of the show.
Yes.
Right? Whole time, I'm thinking, oh, we about to find some things out about Dan.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? We find out Dan has a God complex. This episode is more about Dan God complex, and we find out some things that we like, whoa, wait a minute. We found out in the first episode, when it comes to women, he did not respect women. He did not think women was funny. It's one thing to not think women are funny, but why you hire them? You get what I'm saying? And then on top of that, to basically torture them, to basically let them be your little guinea pigs or little, like, you know, pets or whatever, right? Now we in the second episode, and now we're like, wait a minute now. I can't trust Dan. Cool, because he got Amanda over here hugging him from the back, giving him massages. Now I can't even trust the one that is supposed to be the buffer between basically the parents and the actual work.
Yes.
And at this time, as a parent, you're probably thinking, I put my kid in danger. I gave my kid to this.
Like, I handed my child to this person.
I literally hand them every time we got to go to work. We can't be on set. But I'm handing them to basically someone who's into kids. Yeah. In that way. And like, I don't want nobody to ever go through this, unfortunately. But, like, the shame and the guilt you may feel. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, these guys, the Jasons and things of that nature, are the villains. Yeah. That take it upon themselves to do this type of disgusting acts and things of that nature.
Yeah, and work in this field so they can have access to these children. Yeah. Which is disgusting. But I want to kind of go back to the point where Jason was exchanging phone numbers and emails with these children. Jason looked to be could have been late teens, early 20s, clearly an adult.
Definitely an adult for
at
sure.
the time. But even if you are that age, I don't care how close in age range you are to somebody under 18. You're not under 18. You're not a child. And there's no reason for you to be messaging and calling children. There's no reason, especially when the parent is there. Like, and as the parent, I think they're the ones who do have to be the ones to draw the line in the sand to say, I know y'all are cool on set and this is a really fun atmosphere, but this is work and my child does not need to be having outside conversations with somebody they work with when it's an adult. Yeah. Anything like that should go through the parent.
But you know how deceiving it is, and you know how, what's the word? You know how much thought went into this? You realize he did it to Brandy. Yeah. He didn't do it to Amanda.
Well, we don't know.
As far as we know. Right? But what he was caught with Brandy. Yeah. And things like that. Because that kind of lets me know, which we already know, that, this was intentional. And things like that. Because you just figure, if I just do this and get caught by somebody who just an extra on the show and things like that, I'm not going to do it to somebody that will cost him the show and cost him my job. And cost him
or somebody that comes back every day or whatever the case may be. But who knows who all he did it to.
Listen here, 100% facts.
But the thing that also got me was that when the mom found out And when her daughter told her the picture that he sent her, she did not call the police. She just wanted to keep her child away from him. So her daughter left the business and never returned. And to me, that's... blame her? Yes. That is not noble to me. That is not noble to me, to being like, I care about my child, and whatever happens to everybody else, I ain't going to deal with it. That's their business. No. This man is around these children, and he's doing this to your child. You can't possibly think your child is that special to where they just took an interest or a liking to your child.
You got to protect everybody.
You have to think about everybody. That's the way I think. I think that was like a very, even though the mom didn't do it and they were a victim to this man. It was a coward. To me, that was very diabolical of the mom to not speak up on behalf of the children that he comes in contact every day. She knew this man is the one they hand their children to, and she decided to do nothing but protect her child.
That's wild.
That threw me for a loop.
But she like, hey, listen here, I did my job. I took my kid out the industry. Well, that's how we have Drakes. That's how we have all these other kids and things like that.
Because you only concerned about yours.
Who have these stories and things like that. That's why you have these parents over here that say, you ain't spending that over nobody's house. If I ain't there and things of that nature, if they ain't coming here, you ain't going there. You know what I'm saying? So I 100% agree, Blair.
Well, Dan created What I Like About You.
You watch that show?
I didn't really watch that show. But
I seen it on TV. I ain't have cable.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I did have. I had limited cable.
Okay.
I had bootleg cable. Okay. You know what I mean? To where we had the box, but it wasn't like the box that the cable company gave you. It was the box that the guy at the barbershop gave you.
Okay.
And things like
that.
So
it was some cable, some.
It was some cable. Like basically, I had Nickelodeon.
Okay.
But I didn't have like all the other channels and things of that nature. Okay. So you know, I guess that was back in the day. They can't do nothing to my dad. He did.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I had that channel and I watched that a little bit, but I didn't like it that much.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I think I had seen it on TV, but I never took the time to watch it. Yeah. But this was when Amanda was starting to get older. She still wasn't an adult at this time. I think she was probably around 16. But they were trying to transition her into more adult roles. Yeah, and that's also something she wanted to kind of get out of that slapstick kind of kiddie comedy. Yeah. So the co-creator of What I Like About You was Will Calhoun. And apparently they didn't trust Dan, so they pushed him out of the writer's room. But they still had him on set as a producer at that time. But Dan felt that he was the one who should be the one to usher her into adulthood since he found her as a child star.
You know what's crazy? I'm guessing, but come on, guess with me, guys. This is the fun part about this channel, is that we ain't gotta be right. We just go guess, right?
Okay.
I think Will Calhoun, who is also the creator of Friends, right? You're like, man, this man's a weirdo.
He probably saw it from jump.
I don't want this man anywhere near my writer's room.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Now, this is so funny because guess what? Karma is real in some ways, right? And when I say karma, there's something that says you live. If you live by the sword, you go die by the sword. What you do to others is going to come back to you, basically. So remember, he kicked those women out the writer's room.
Yeah.
He treated them unfairly and things like that. And he split their salary, didn't give them. And now we to the point where he's basically ushering Amanda into Will basically arena because. As far as I know, Will probably looked at Daniel like, man, you do kid shows.
Yeah.
Like now this is the big leads. You stick to your Nickelodeon. You stick to your
feet jokes and whatever.
Exactly. Your little snot, your little money shot jokes and things of that nature. I don't really respect you as a writer anyway.
Yeah.
But he's probably like, I'm here to usher in Amanda, and Will's probably like, I'll take Amanda from you.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And I can just picture Dan feeling like, oh, I'm not the big guy on set anymore. That does something to a man's psyche who is like Dan, because now he's not in absolute power, but the fear is if he ever get absolute power again, he's gonna be more of a tyrant. Because this is like gasoline to the fire of like, they mistreated me. They only respect me because I got nose boy jokes and things like that. But when I'm trying to actually usher in, and then he feel like I discovered Amanda, so I should be the one to basically like she is my she is my mentee right here.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But then they probably recognized that you was a weirdo from the jump.
Yeah.
And they said, I don't want you in my writer's room. But go ahead. What do you think about that? If you have any more thoughts on that?
I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, he was a big fish, and you can call it a small pond because there was only so many things available
at that time
for kids shows at the time. So when you go into this big adult world of all of this writing, all these shows, all these things, and no, Dan, we don't think you're funny. We don't respect your opinion.
I wrote Friends.
You can be on set if you want, but we ain't gonna use your bits.
I think it got to the point where I may be jumping, but it got to the point where they didn't let him in the writer's room, and then there was a point where they didn't even let him on the set.
They just completely wanted to.
They said, listen here, we keep your name on the show, because I think that was one of the first times his name was on the show.
Yeah.
On What I Like About You, like publicly. So they were like, we don't want you anywhere near the show, but we keep your name on the show.
Yeah. Well, Amanda turned to Dan for help to run away from home. She was having some issues with her parents.
Yeah.
And her parents were upset with Dan's actions throughout this. Instead of being a responsible adult and telling the child to go back home with their parents or try to help them work the situation out or help them go to family counseling, if there really is an issue to where maybe she's not safe to go back to her parents, he basically helped put into Amanda's head the thought of emancipation.
Yeah.
To where she would be considered an adult in a legal way. And that in turn would allow her to work more hours and they could continue to use her as a workhorse essentially. So because of Dan's involvement in the emancipation is when he lost his relationship with Amanda and the parents.
Wow. So all of this, he thought that this will help him get back whatever he was looking for. And he lost Amanda and the parents. Yeah. Because they was like, you know what? Because whole time Dan is over there, he putting those seeds in there like, you know, they taking your money, they mismanaging your money, they doing this and this. You and an adult, you are the star. And like as someone who is the breadwinner of the family, you do feel this way. Yeah. You're like, yo, I'm the one who did the Amanda show. I'm the one who put on these times. I'm the one on these award. I'm the one that's going to these kid award shows and things like that. I'm the one that they want on this What I Like About You. I'm basic. I make my own money. I can live for myself. So I'm going to emancipate myself and things like that. And like you said, Dan wasn't the responsible adult, and it kind of caused a rift between everybody. Yeah. Yep.
Well, when they basically kicked him off What I Like About You, he ended up going back to Nick and he went back to all that.
With his tail between his legs.
And this is when people were saying that they were starting to ask more of the kids, having the kids work a little bit more longer hours than was legal. Brian, one of the black male actors on the show, his mom felt the racial undertones in a lot of the jokes. She could tell some of the adult jokes within the skits. And the mom complained and she was pretty much shushed.
So even now we see actually the what if come into reality. Like if you are a parent that basically speak up for your kid, this is what will happen to you back in the day. Yeah. You don't know nothing. Somebody come get her. So you only go have the people against you on the set, the director, the writer, and things like that. You go have your kid against you. You go have the kid agent against you because because in the show it said the agent called her and said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, telling her to calm down.
And at the end of the day, you want to be a good parent. So when you have your kid basically tell you, "Mom, relax," like what do you do? And the only thing you can do is take them out the industry completely. Yeah. And have them dislike you for like a good period of time and hope that something like this, a documentary like this, come out 20 years later.
So they can see what you saw.
Exactly. But even then, as I'm jumping everywhere in this part, the son and the mother's relationship
is still not good.
It's still not good.
Yeah.
Because he blamed her. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, there was this little fetus skit. Yeah. When I was a kid, I thought that was hilarious. I really did. Wow. I remember the skit.
Shame on you.
And so they wanted him, at first thought it would be funny to paint him charcoal. And the makeup artist was basically like, I got you. Yeah. Don't worry about that. Don't listen to that. And stuff. Yep. Yeah. So he knew his mom would raise hell. So he actually never told her. Somebody made that comment. Then we get into On Air Dare, which was pretty much Fear Factor for the kids. And this is where they had put peanut butter on kids, had dogs licking the peanut butter off them, putting worms in tubs, people eating scorpions. And my thing with the on-air dare was that as a kid, when you would see like the shows like that, I really didn't think anything of it. But as an adult, I kind of look at it to how can a child consent to something like this, to putting themselves in bodily harm? I don't feel like a child has the mental capacity to understand what they're doing. Well, so now I'm kind of think like, is this even a consentable thing for a child?
Well, let me tell you how I thought of it, which kind of lets you know, like, we really don't know the behind the scenes of anything. If I was to see a show like On Air Dare with kids, I'm thinking, oh, it's safe. You get what I'm saying? Oh, putting a scorpion in somebody's mouth. Oh, okay. It's not like a real scorpion. It's like it's kids. It's like, because when you hear the idea on the surface, like Fear Factor for kids, oh, genius. Because Fear Factor was a big show back in the day. We could go do a kid version, a safer version, and things like that, to where, oh, what is the harm of having peanut butter on somebody and dogs licking them? There's really no harm compared to the real Fear Factor and things like that. Yeah. But what happens is, the harm is if the kid don't feel safe, no matter if it is safe, based off of your prediction. If the kid don't feel safe or feel like it's a safe environment, then you got to scrap it all together. And I think that's where we will see what we will see the pattern of throughout this series, is that these kids are saying, even when the dogs was licking off of him, he was like, I don't like this.
Yeah, but they couldn't speak up to say stop or I don't want to do this.
And then even at the end of the day, it's like they can't really say nothing. Because even though you want to create a safe environment for kids are powerless unless they have adults there to basically back what they're saying. Yeah. And whenever the adult try to speak up, i.e. somebody's mom, they get shushed and ushered out the room.
Yeah. Well, and then at that point, you always had to do more when it came to Dan. You had to put in more hours or you'd be fired.
A goal you can't reach, a fake goal.
And the editor is the one who was talking about that. She had a time where she said she was working all day, all night, waking up at 8 a.m., not going home till midnight. And one day she actually was so overworked, she had to go to the hospital. And as she was getting wheeled out, somebody was saying, well, how's the episode going to get finished? And she's over here yelling back, I'm going to be right back. I'll be right back.
While she on the stretcher.
Crazy. He would play games on set to get people to quit. There was this guy, Virgil, who was let go, and Dan didn't speak to him. He basically had somebody come up and said, I'm going to shoot this shot for you. And Dan said, you can go. And he was like, well, Dan can tell me I can leave if he wants me to leave. And the person was saying, just go ahead and go.
And now Virgil, just to give some type of backstory of him, everybody liked Virgil. Yeah, he was like the mediator for the kids and things like that. So when he was directing and shooting certain scenes and things like that, he was the guy that the kids felt comfortable going to. You get what I'm saying? So in a way, as we was talking about power, if all the kids feel comfortable going to you, and you don't got Amanda rubbing your neck no more, now you got makeup artists or whoever you got rubbing your neck, and the kids want to be around Virgil. Because, hey, Mr. Virgil, how are you? And he probably treat the kids nice. Yeah. Right? He got rid of Virgil. So I'm like, you actually, even though allegedly, based on the information that we have right now, as far as we know, Dan did not personally put his hands on any kid. But you actually cultivated the environment for it to be unsafe and for it to happen under your power. Yeah. Because there's no Virgils there. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Because anybody who, quote unquote, gave any type of fairness in that work environment, oh, how dare them? You get what I'm saying? And then Virgil, who is a head director at the time, whatever he was doing at the camera at the time, he's like, listen, if I'm fired, they ain't gotta have to fire me. It's just like he didn't respect anybody who challenges his authority or even created a safe environment for kids. And I'm just like, yo, you work with kids. If there's anything, listen, if I was to ever work with kids, which I don't ever want to work with kids, you probably would never see me on the set, right? Me personally. And I would have to be like, you won't even step on this lot unless you have parents, a guardian. I want to see, listen here, we might as well give the parent a contract because they going to be on the show too.
Yeah.
I want them on the set. I want them in the background. I don't care if they got to play bartender. What I want the parents on the set. I'm sorry. I'm gonna discriminate against those who don't have parents. Listen here. If you ain't got no parents, you can't come on the set. Okay. I need parents. Oh no, this is my fault. I need legal parents on the set.
Okay.
Because I need it to be 100% safe. I don't want my name around any of that. But Dan was doing the complete opposite.
Absolutely.
And I don't understand why.
Well, when it came to Brian's the one whose mom was speaking up for him.
Yeah.
Dan treated Brian with caution because he knew his mom didn't play.
That's crazy though. Mm-hmm. That's
and the
wild.
thing is, Dan should be treating all the children with caution because all the parents should be just as invested. But because people were scared and wanted to be in his good graces, that mom did stand out. And with the fact that she stood out, he did not get invited back to the next season.
Listen here, he got fired on his day off, basically.
Yeah. And Brian eventually, he blamed his mom and didn't trust her anymore after that, probably thinking his mom ruined his career.
Yeah. No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a weird position to be in because you protected your kid, but your kid really won't respect that protection unless they know the danger that was coming out. Yeah. Right? So all this time, can you imagine? Because he said he's in therapy now for it to repair his mother's relationship. He said it's still not back to 100%. It's like, do you want something to happen to you so I can be like, I told you so? Like no, my job is to prevent it. You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, look, kids is hard to please, man. It's hard to please, especially during that time he's around his friends. So he just saw it as, you don't want me to be around my friends. Everybody telling me that, like, you ain't coming back because your mom be out here wilding. It's just a sad position to be in. But kudos to that mom, though. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, listen here, I'd rather have my kid upset at me and then potentially as an adult thank me than for something bad to happen and basically like now I gotta live with that guilt. You get what I'm saying?
Well, Jason Handy, the man that sent the picture message to Brandy and whose mom didn't report him to the police, he ended up getting arrested. Wow. So in 2003, the police were basically tipped about him. They searched his house. They found explicit videos of children. Wow. They found Ziploc bags with children's names on them. Wow. And mementos he had. One of the bags, he had letters from Brandy. Another bag, he had a little girl's underwear. He wrote in his journals about how he felt towards these kids, the things that he wanted to do to them. Wow. And some kids even came to his home and spent time alone with him. He was sentenced to 6 years, and then 4 months later, another crew member was arrested. That's why that mom, I appreciate you coming on here, whatever the case may be. Yeah. But I mean,
6 years is not long enough.
6 years isn't long enough, but I'm just like, you could have saved somebody the moment that you found out that your child was being propositioned.
And then 4 months later, somebody else got arrested?
Yeah. Brian Peck.
Oh, my goodness.
Who was Pickle Boy.
And I remember Pickle Boy.
I do remember that. So at Brian's house, they would always have these gatherings. At one time, there was a barbecue, and there was a room dedicated to vintage toys and comic books. There was a garage like Planet of the Apes themed, and there was a picture of a clown holding balloons, and it was essentially a self-portrait or gift from the serial killer John Wayne Gacy.
Jesus Christ.
And Brian had a pen pal relationship with this man and kept the letters in the drawer next to his bed.
What is going on with this? Literally, what, like?
And he was showing people, and he was showing the kids, and he was showing the parents, and he was proud of this friendship he had with this murderer.
I think it was actually described as basically like a what do like you call that? Like, you know how you walk in somebody's house and they have something like something that stands out, but it like become like a talking point.
Yeah, like a conversational piece or whatever.
Something like that. When the kid asked about it, he was like, "I'm happy you asked." I was like, "What is going on here?" Yeah. Nah, man. Like, listen here, my kid not working in this industry.
Nah, absolutely not.
So no, like I don't have to worry about it personally, but I'm saying if you are someone that want to get your kid in these type of industries, listen here, you have to quit your job and you have to be there 100% of the time. I mean, when I say 100% of the time, just don't be in the house.
And don't be worried about making your kid happy.
Nope.
If something is unsafe, yank them up out of there.
Nope. Get some handcuffs that has a little give in it, and wherever y'all go, you handcuff yourself to your kid. Because it's not just enough that we in the same building.
Right.
I need this. You need to be on me. We need to trip over each other, basically, when it comes to kids and things like that.
Yeah.
Because there's people like this that exist, and that's the reality of the real world.
So apparently there was a table read.
Yeah.
And at one point during the table read, the parents were asked to leave so that these lawyer type people could talk to the kids.
This has actually made me think like, wow, this is crazy. Go ahead.
So the parents left the room.
Yeah.
I ain't leaving the room.
I'm not leaving the room either. Like, you gotta talk to the kids.
Exactly. Well, the kids were told that Brian Peck wouldn't be back, and they asked if any of the kids had anything to say. No one said anything. These lawyer-like people left, and Dan essentially was saying, okay, let's get back to work. And they knew something happened that was inappropriate with a kid and Brian, but they never knew who it was.
And here's the thing about it, right? And if this is the end of the show,
Yeah.
I think they was interviewing Virgil, right? So whenever lawyers and stuff come in a room like that, because Dan came in the room and he told them to leave out the room, told the parent to leave out the room and things like that, they already informed Dan what's going on.
Yeah.
So what happened was, which is a coward move, right? You go talk to the kids who doesn't understand the gravity of the situation, who don't understand anything, and they just wanted to make sure that no one else was a victim of this person.
Yeah.
Because if there was a victim, if that person was a victim, they quiet them, pull them aside, talk to them. But if the parents was there to hear what happened, they all probably would have pulled their kids out and be like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Because they all...
Yeah, what type of establishment are you running here?
And they all was cool with this Brian Peck guy.
Yeah.
So now Virgil, who was the director shooting on the show, he, even to this day, didn't even know until he was like, yeah, he said, I heard like somebody was touched and things like that, but he didn't think or knew who it was.
Yeah.
We didn't know who it was until he comes walking from the shadows, and I'm like, I know that silhouette.
Yeah.
And then he sits down, and it's Drake.
Yeah.
Drake is the golden boy.
Drake Bell.
Of Nickelodeon at that time. And then it just and then like it gets darker in episode 3.
Yeah.
There's anything in episode 2 that you want to discuss that's on your mind, Blair?
Nothing more than I've already said. It's just a shame how the parents fail these kids.
Facts.
And even if the parent protects their own child, to me, that's not enough.
No.
And then even with Dan, like you said, creating an atmosphere to where the kids don't even have somebody to talk to if they wanted to. So it's just a failure on everybody's part. And I feel just don't trust nobody with your kids. No. just don't. Don't, you know, even if they seem cool and all that type of stuff, you don't have to trust them. Be like, yeah, you're cool, but I'm the adult. So you talk to me. We don't need no adults talking to children. For what? And what do y'all have to talk about?
And what we gonna see is that, truth be told, when stuff like this happens, it takes a village for it to happen and nobody knows.
That's a good point.
Like, so whenever something like this happens with kids, there's no such thing as just the victim and that person knows. It takes a village for it to be hidden. So I find it very hard to believe that Dan didn't know. I find it very hard to believe that other people didn't know. Because they all collaborated to keep it hidden. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And then to even find yourself in this position, because if Blair didn't like Brandy's mom, oh boy, she ain't gonna like Drake mom. Dude, you get what I'm saying? Drake Bell's mom in like the next episode is that even for your kid's safety, it has to be a collaborative effort on both parents. Yeah. This is what happens when parents is at odds, as we gonna see in the next episode. And what happened when parents is at odds, you kind of forget the priority of basically you being a parent is to protect your kid. Right. And then they slip through the cracks. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Make sure y'all subscribe, like, share, comment. We want to hear what you thought about this episode. If we making you want to watch it, please watch it. Come back, watch this, and then leave a comment. Yeah. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Y'all be good.
Bye.
Bye.